I think there are fundamental differences between understanding the GOGI Life Tools and being part of an AA community. The GOGI Life Tools are, interestingly enough, divided into 4 sections. Tools of the body, which are utilized in growing up from ages 0 to 8. Tools of choice, which is really what we learn to do from about 8 to about 13. Tools of moving forward, which are tools that we need in the developmental stage from about 13 to 18. And then tools of creation, which is what we utilize from 18 moving onward in our life. This is not anything that I conceptualized as these tools were brought to me by the prisoners that helped create them. The organic nature of how these tools came together and how they fit so nicely into 4 sets of tools makes up the 12 GOGI Life Tools. So 12 GOGI Life Tools, 4 sets of tools. We have a GOGI calendar, and the story of the GOGI calendar is rather fascinating. I went up to Pelican Bay State Prison, and it was about 2015 after the national starvation protest by prisoners across our nation. They protested by starvation that even the worst of the worst prisoners should be given the opportunity to have programming or rehabilitate. And it caught national attention, and national laws were changed that says even if it is the worst of the worst, they must be given an opportunity to rehabilitate. At that time in 2015, the prisoners said, Coach Taylor, we got to take GOGI everywhere. We've just got to take it everywhere. And I said, okay, bring it on. Let's take it everywhere. And the first opportunity was to take GOGI into Pelican Bay State Prison. In many cases, I was the first person they had seen outside of a uniform or a chaplain in sometimes 10, 20, or 30 years. In the SHU unit of Pelican Bay State Prison, they didn't offer programming, so many of these men had never seen a real, quote-unquote, person. They had seen a chaplain, they had seen a doctor, they had seen an officer, but when Coach Taylor pushed her little cart, her library cart, down the halls, who wants GOGI? It was an anomaly. And I would walk up to the cell doors. The modules are kind of these cells inside cells. And I would go to the module door and say, who wants GOGI? And we would begin to share the GOGI tools that way. One man, I went back several times, many times, for years actually. I went back and one man said, Coach Taylor, what tool should I study? I said, what do you mean? What tool should you study? He goes, well, I'm here alone and look at my cell. It's a GOGI university. Every wall is covered with everything ever said about GOGI and everything you've said about GOGI, but I'm alone and I don't want to be alone anymore. And that hurt my heart because he was alone in a cell trying to be his very best, but he was alone. I said, I don't know. I don't even know how to answer that question. Can I respond next time I come back? Well, I left that prison and I went to CDCR, which is California Prisons training facility in Soledad, and there in the gym were about 110 men, and they were all GOGI students. And I said to my leaders who I met with right before, I said, we have a problem. They said, what's the problem? So we have a student in Pelican Bay. His entire cell is nothing but GOGI, every single inch of it. He doesn't want to be alone anymore. And one guy said, well, he needs to transfer. He needs to get a level down. He can move here. We'll take care of him here. Another guy says, well, he's going to have to learn how to do it alone. And then one guy said, well, the Mayan calendar is over this year. And I don't remember what year it was, maybe 2011. The Mayan calendar is over. We should just create a GOGI calendar. I said, okay, create a GOGI calendar. I'll take him back a calendar and he will never, ever be alone, ever, in his GOGI studies. So my guys, my leaders sat there and they laid out the tools. The first week in January is Boss of My Brain. Second one is belly breathing. Third, 5-second light switch. 4, positive thoughts. 5, positive words, positive actions. Claim responsibility, let go, forgive, what if, reality check, ultimate freedom. They laid it out in the calendar. Amazingly enough, the tools repeat themselves in the exact amount so that at the last week of the year is ultimate freedom. Every year starts with Boss of My Brain. Now we had a calendar that included 365 days where we know exactly what tool is studied nationally. The difference between AA and GOGI's 12 tools, we have a calendar that we adhere to. We study and we build community based on this calendar. We are not a disease model. Nobody is broken. Nobody is sick. However, increasingly, there are more and more people who that doesn't work for. The being defined as an alcoholic or an addict doesn't resonate with them. There are many AA meetings in prisons and jails where they will have an AA meeting and the guy will get up or the girl will get up and say, yeah, well, this week was really hard for me because I didn't get my call I was expecting. And then somebody in the back will say, you have a GOGI tool. Which GOGI tool will you use? And so the integration of the GOGI tools into AA meetings is allowing those individuals who struggle with not having the tools and only a definition and a camaraderie to have those tools so that they can make the better choices autonomously and independently of the group. They are developing those tools and those skills so that they can define their life differently. So GOGI Life Tools are integrated into NA and AA meetings. They're integrated into the church and religious experience. They're even integrated into ayahuasca sessions for some people, or Bible readings and the Quran. I will tell you, at CTF, another time that I went, one man came up to me and said, Coach Taylor, your secret is safe with me. I said, what do you mean? He goes, I know you're a Christian. I said, how do you know that? He said, because all of GOGI, it's right out of the Bible. There is one scripture for every single tool. And I said, are you a Christian? He said, yes, ma'am, I am. I said, well, does it make you a better Christian because you have these tools? He said, yes, it does. I said, that is exactly what they're intended to do. And that very day, later on in that day, crossed my heart. I swear to you, a man came up to me and said, Coach Taylor, can I ask you a personal question? I said, sure, what is it? Are you a Muslim? I said, why do you ask? Because every single thing in the GOGI book is right out of the Quran. So I know it's personal and I'm not supposed to ask you personal questions, but I just think that you probably are Muslim. And I asked him, are you Muslim? He said, yes, I am. I said, do the GOGI Life Tools make you a better Muslim? He said, yes, they do. I said, that's exactly what they're supposed to do. So the GOGI Life Tools are intended to be a global language for the entire world, based on the fact that we are all the same. When it comes right down to it, we all want lives of meaning and purpose. We all take things too personally. We all are engaged too much in the minutia of the human experience, and we don't allow enough real estate for our soul to actually exist. And these GOGI Life Tools help us get out of our own way.